Hey guys, how's it going? It's Kara here with another My Hero Academia, the Strongest Hero video. And in today's video, I want to talk about all ways to increase the power of your heroes here in My Hero Academia. How to upgrade them, residence, affinity, skill trees, talents, cards, chips, and then lastly, gear as well. So how to farm those things and what they actually do for your account. I just want to jump right into it. The first thing is just going to be how to level up the character. This is actually pretty straightforward, but how it works is this is all gated based on where you're at in the story. So if you look at my situation, I am currently level 70. My agency level is level 33. And I won't be able to continue on the story until I'm level 35. And then just from seeing other people that have reached level 80, I'm going to need agency level 39 to actually get to level 80 character. So until then, I won't be able to level up my characters at all, but they're going to be stuck at level 70 up until I get to agency level 39. And then I think the first thing we're talking about is how to increase your agency rank. And because this is a lot, all your progressions tied to this. And in the beginning of the game, you're not going to really care because they kind of do a good job of balancing out where as you go through the story, your agency level goes up. But they're intentionally gating further progress by having this cap here where you can't, even if you wanted a whale, you can't get extra energy to go further beyond this. The big thing that's going to actually increase your agency rank is experience, and then the best way to get experience is going to be through your daily missions. And these dailies, you get 6 of them a day. And you can just find them here if you just click on this guy. They reset it, 5 a.m. Then when you get 6 of them, then you can rush them. You can use rush tickets to rush through them, or you can actually manually do them yourself, and you get 300 XP for doing these. Whereas normally if you spend 25 energy, which you don't get much energy in the game at all, that's only going to be 125 agency experience. So as you can see, that's a massive difference here in actual progression when it comes to the energy. So you're really going to need to rely on those dailies to go further beyond that. But that's something I think is worth knowing about so you can be prepared for it when the time comes. Other ways to get experience is going to be through the main story is going to give you experience in a lot of ways as you do it. There's going to be little side quests. There's going to be a whole bunch of things just through the game that's going to give you agency experience, and you're hopefully you just get as much of it as you possibly can. And then once you get to this point, like I'm in, or I was in this as well when I hit level 29, I had to wait until agency level 31 to continue progressing. So you're just kind of stuck until then, and those are going to be the ways, the means to actually keep progressing is going to be using energy and waiting for your daily refreshes of your dailies. And then now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about how to actually progress, the actual mechanics of how the progression works. So the first thing is going to be just leveling up your heroes, the experience of how to actually increase these guys up from 10 to 20, 20 to 30, and so forth. So the first thing is you're going to be gated by these things here. You need 3 of them per every 10 levels, and how these are gated is based on where you're at in the story. So this one, for example, 8-3, 8-4, 8-5, but if you're a little lower in rank, it's going to be different levels are going to actually be able to farm these. And so if you have 20 energy, you can just get this. So like, for example, I have 20 energy right here. If I wanted to get this, I could just use a rush ticket because I've already cleared 7-6 and I'm going to get one. And then I can put it on this character. I can hit advance, and then they will be able to go to level 70 from 60 to 70. And how you actually get a character from 60 to 70 is you need to use food. Or actually, let's go to a character that's not fully leveled yet. So this guy right here is 63, but I'm out of food. So as you can see, it's not those 3 things anymore because I've already activated them. What it is it's just food. It's just telling me how to get food. So how you get food here is just, they're going to give you food passively through other points of the game, but how to directly farm food if you run out, which eventually you will, is going to be through the supplies. And you can just go through here, supplies, you farm it. Ideally, you're going to farm it at the highest level because look at the difference in the amount of food. It's the same amount of energy cost, but lower amount of food, so you definitely want to farm it here. You won't really have much energy per day anyway, but if you're stuck, like in my situation, where you can't progress at all, this is going to be something you're going to want to farm a lot of because the food is going to be your big bottleneck in getting characters to level 80. And the reason why you want to get characters to level 80 at least as soon as possible is because they have a character you can get. If you check here, you can farm him. It's this dude here. It's Eraserhead. And as you can see, the last 2 achievements are you need 3 characters at level 80 and then 6 heroes at level 80. And so we're kind of in a time game because this ends on 610. So ideally you're going to have 6 characters level 80 based on when this ever ends. So on my server when I started is when it bases it off of. So I have until 610, whereas other people might have a little earlier and some people have it a little later. Not sure, but I've seen other people, like for example, end on 6-5 because they started I would like to say 5 days earlier than me. So that's why it's a priority. This might not be the most efficient thing to do, but I think it is based on guaranteeing a really good character in Eraserhead. Now we get an idea what food is. Let's talk about the other parts of actually increasing a hero's power, which is going to be his actual skills. And every time you increase a character's level, they're going to be able to increase all their skills here. As you can see, this one requires level 75 to keep going. This one's already maxed. This one needs level 72. This one needs level 72. So essentially when you're actually not gated anymore, I get this guy to 80 and then I can increase all these skills. It takes this cash to actually increase them. But as you can see, the orange part is the thing that actually increases, and it's a pretty massive increase per tier here. So it's very important to do. This is one of the biggest things you can do to increase a character's power in this game, is going to be leveling them up. But then the level up is definitely better stats, but it's a small increase in stats relative to the actual, flat damage increases you're going to be gaining from leveling up your characters. It all kind of adds up, but that's going to be one of the bigger things that matter when it comes to increasing a character's power. So then next, we should talk about their talents here. And talents are farmed mainly through they're going to throw them at you in a lot of ways, but mainly through the battle shop. And how you get this battle shop currency is going to be through this place in the game here called Super Co-op Battle. And this, if you're familiar with Guardian Tales, it's like an AFK fighting thing where it's like Coliseum and Guardian Tales, but I'm sure that this is a very popular game mode in other gacha style games. But this is how you're going to farm this currency. This deserves its own video, but mainly you're going to take this currency and you could buy the actual talent currency from here based on whichever character. So if you're a P character, you're going to want this one. If you're a T character, like a technical character, you want this one. And if you're a speed character, you're going to want this one. Then you take it. Now that you actually have the currency, you go to the hero. And in my case scenario, I finally got enough to actually level this. I'm not going to talk about the specific which direction you should go in the trees, because I feel like you can. I feel like you can argue. Like, I feel like that deserves its own video as well. I think when it comes to All Might, you could go this direction. You can go down here. You can go. Like, all of them are totally valid ways to go. So I'm not saying that this is the best one. I'm just trying to explain the mechanics of where to go or what talents are. They're just extra stats for your character and or extra abilities. Like, for example, they actually get pretty good. Like this one right here, every time he gets a little lower, so he loses 1% HP, his attack increases by 1%. So he gets really low, he gets really strong. This one right here, when he does his Texas Smash, so like a third stage of his heavy strike, then he immediately Oklahoma smashes, so he immediately does the tornado. Like, that's awesome. So he just gets himself a freebie right there, and then this one he becomes invincible when he's under Oklahoma smash. So it's like each tree has its own thing, but as you can see, like, talents are really important to do. So I think really taking the Super Co-op Battle seriously is going to be one of the best ways for progression, because talents are just so important for each character. And then also, if you notice just how expensive it gets per talent, so I'm on talent 26 and I'm spending I have to spend 23,000 per talent now, versus if I'm down here on talents, the first talent was only like 200, this one's like 560. It's super cheap comparatively, but it exponentially raises up as you go further on in the talents. So definitely keep that in mind. It's something you really want to be focusing on as early as possible. So the next, when it comes to increasing power of heroes, is going to be cards. And how cards work is you have actives over here, and then for the most part, actives are really rare because there's only one 4-star active card, and it's this one. How you activate it, and then it's a dude that comes out and he punches him. But active cards, there's a lot of 5-star and like 6-star cards that just give you higher percentages. They might do another effect, they might do AoE, but for the most part, you're just gonna have heavy strike as your active card unless you're really lucky, and that's essentially what it does. But then passive cards are going to be something you're going to have a whole bunch of options on when it comes to what to use with these guys. But I'll kind of give you an idea of what they can do. For example, this one is in combat, when you enter sneak mode, gains 8.5% damage. Like, they're all specific. But the main thing, what they're doing is they're going to give you battle stats, and you're going to have to evaluate on which cards are going to be the best. These are the ones that I like based on the ones I have. I'm not saying that these are the best ones, but I think they're actually pretty good. So in this situation, I have a random chance to increase the attack percentage by 50.5%, for 10 seconds. And then this one right here, every minute, I gain 12.5% max HP. I think those are pretty sweet. And then there's going to be the set effects here where you can always check based on which one. Like, for example, this one doesn't have a set effect. Anything that's 2, 3, or I believe even 4-star, like 4-star have set effects, but they're not as good. 3-star and below do not have set effects just in general. And then some even 6-star pieces just don't have set effects either. So you can always just easily check that right down here. And then each character has their own exclusive card, and they are always in two flavors. The first one is just increases whatever character you have damage by 12%, and then the other one has a specific effect based on the character. I mean, that would be way too long to get in here, but you can always check that out here. So for example, in All Might's case, he has increases damage by 14% for 8 seconds whenever he does the All for One application. And that's going to change based on the character. Like, for example, I have Momo's here, and she has the same thing when it comes to the card. So this one is 12% damage, flat damage, but this one right here is very specific to her kit. That's just going to be this typical format for every single exclusive card you can get for each character. And then another thing too, every single time you get one, there's a collection bonus. So you activate the card and then you'll get a small amount of extra stats for just owning the card in general for your entire roster. So that's kind of nice. And worth, so cards are definitely something that are definitely worth investing in, because as you can see, there's massive benefits for having a really good card combinations. So that's why I've been making a good point to actually go for cards, because that's going to be something that really takes your characters to the next level. So then after cards, we have chips. And chips, I believe, they start at 27, I believe, is the level that you can get chips. And how you get them is, I believe this is going to be like the late game grind. This is going to be the thing that we're really going to focus on, is going to be farming these guys. And I believe they deserve that on video, but I'm just going to kind of quickly go over them. You farm them in the 9 ops missions here, and you go through, and based on where you're at in the 9 ops, like for example, this one, you farm it. And once you beat the 9 ops mission, it's just a boss. You beat him and you get a random drop of a 5-star chip or a 6-star chip. And then you get a small percentage here as you keep beating it. And then once you get the 100% bar, which probably takes, I don't know, like 15, 20 missions, then you'll be able to get you just go into the shop and you can buy a specific chip for a specific character at 6-star rarity or 5-star rarity based on whichever tier you're actually farming. Then what the chips do, chips are like artifacts in Genshin Impact. They're like mods in games. And how they work is you have base stats are never going to change based on which one you have, because you have the memory, you have the expansion, and you also have the core chips. And they all, every single memory chip is going to have attack and HP. Every single expansion chip is going to have defense and HP. Every single core chip is going to have attack and defense. So, but the thing that actually changes is going to be the extra stats, and that's going to be where you can have massive differences in how good these chips are, and it's going to take a ton of farming to actually get the right ones. Because then not only do you need a good roll, but then you need to actually roll well as you level it up. Because if we go here to enhance them, then the extra stats are going to change at 4, 7, 10, 13, and 16. So based on your roll, you're going to want to have good rolls, you're going to want it to keep rolling the good thing. So in my case scenario, I tried to roll it once and it had decreased, which I think is the worst one out of this. I would, ideally want damage increase, because I think that's actually one of the most valuable stats in the game. And then crit damage would be nice. And then penetration would probably be my, third favorite here. Maybe penetration actually scales better than crit damage. I don't know, but I think damage increase scales better than almost anything based on from what I've seen. Maybe it falls off like a massive diminishing return curve. Not sure, but you can also check how the stats are affecting your characters here in the details, and you can literally just click it. So that's attack right here. This is why I think the damage increase is so important, is because before I had that chip, that was a 50 increase, and I got from 19% to 22%. So a 3% damage increase with just 50 points. Imagine if that keeps rolling damage increase. I think that's by far one of the most valuable subsets you could possibly get on a character. And I think that's one of the only ways you can get damage increase in such a high amount is through chips. So that's going to be one of the big RNG fests here in this game, is going to be chips there. So definitely remember that 9 ops is going to be like the late game farm for sure. It's just going to take a while to get there, and I think there's a lot more priorities, like getting characters to level 80 is going to be a way bigger priority for most people than farming 9 op missions. But I wanted to see it, and then surprisingly enough, All Might's so strong that my dude's at 18k power, but he's beating 9 op missions that say you need 31k power. So he's a busted character, and it's kind of nice to be able to force progression with such a overpowered hero. and whereas other characters are going to struggle immensely, in my opinion. So kind of cool. Just a brief overview of those guys. Definitely going to have more videos to come when it comes to them specifically. And then next we have, okay, another way, this is a small way to increase a hero's power here, is going to be their affinity. So how you get farm affinity is going to be through the dorms. As you increase their affinity, you get a small, very small damage increase. So for example, I have affinity level 2, and if I get it to 3, I get, you know, from 10 attack here. Let me see if it shows me. Yeah, so 10, 10, and then 60 on this move here, and then it goes up to 20, 20, 120, then 30. It's just a flat 10, 10 or 30 amount. So it definitely adds up, but it's one of the smaller benefits you could possibly get, and that's all through, I believe, farming commissions is going to get you the box there, allow you to get more affinity for characters, but something to keep in mind. And then lastly, let's talk about gear. This is something that you're going to be able to farm here in the co-op in the agency assessment. This is on video to really explain this, but how gear works is you take a piece in here, it could be purple, doesn't matter, but all the benefits you're increasing to it actually affect the slot, not the gear piece. So you can just go ham on all of these pieces here, and it's going to stay there. So if I take this out, like for example, if I just remove this, all those benefits of this slot actually still persist. So if I go here and equip this, boom, I still have level 34, I still have +2, it does not matter. It's not attached to this at all. But the actual piece of gear matters in how much base stats it has, but the base stats are always going to be the same, just like chips were per the slot. So for example, this one's always going to be penetration and defense. This one's always going to be crit and defense. This one's always going to be crit damage and defense. Stuff like that. The extra stats we'll talk about here in a second. But this one's always going to be attack and HP. So I think the ones you should prioritize are probably going to be the crit damage, defense, crit, defense, and then also this one right here is damage increase. So I think this one's also worth prioritizing as well. Extra stats though are random rolls based on the piece of gear. And if you get a duplicate, then you can also transfer the piece of gear, and then based on the rarity, how many extra slots it actually has. So for example, this level 20 legendary has 2 extra stats, whereas this level 30 legendary has 3 extra stats. And I believe level 40 is going to be 4, and then maybe it goes up to 5. I don't know, but I think level 50 is probably going to all stay at 4, and you're just going to have to switch the extra stats around. And it's actually pretty sweet on how easily it allows you to transfer those extra stats for each gear piece. So then how do you get extra levels of this gear? And how you get extra levels is going to be based on your agency level, and then how you're going to farm it is through the agency assessment. And you go through here, and how the agency assessment works is you need to go here, create a team, and then throw your permit in. So I put my permit in here, and it's level 12 because I've beaten this a couple times. What's cool about this is you can add friends from any other server into your party here and actually be able to farm this with your friends. And I think that's awesome. I thought you were stuck with the people you are on your server, and if your friend didn't register on the same server, you're screwed. But that is not the case. Like, I was able to play with my friend. I just was able to recruit him here. And then as you can see, the party settings are open. Ideally, I would just have this application list, team settings, visible to friends and allies members only. And then, sorry, gotta kick you guys out for this video, but that's how easy it is to find people. The big thing to keep in mind though is look at the top. Where does it show it? But main thing, let me see if it shows it anywhere. See how this round here at the top here, it ends in 3 days and 10 hours. So how that works is based on how far you go in this assessment, they're going to give you rewards based on how far you went in that time period. And then every single day, or every single hero you get, let's go back to making a team. So if I make this team here, you get 2 attempts per hero. So notice how I use this guy. He was 1 out of 2. 1 out of 2 is because I use these heroes within this reset period, and these characters hero stamina resets at 5 daily, just like every other reset. So if you're going to use these heroes, make sure when you're at like agency level 1, so and then the card is, so if your agency level is 20, anywhere from 20 to 29, it's going to be a level 20 rank, and then the gear pieces that are going to drop are level 20 pieces. But once you're agency level 30, then it's going to be anywhere from, it's going to be 30, but how it actually goes up from legendary to, or from purple to legendary, is going to be how far you can go in the actual, which floor you're on. So when you start, you're at level 1. So the battle requirement is going to be significantly lower. So make sure you're using a character that has a low battle power. Then as you keep going up, save your heavy hitters for later, because you only get 2 attempts. So make sure you do that. I think that's really important. This needs this on video, but that's how you're going to be able to farm gear here. And so I'm agents at level 30, so I can actually farm level 30 pieces, and ideally I'm going to get the legendary ones to replace the purple ones. And how you get the legendary ones is you need to be at least above floor 10. And as you can see here, high yield attempts left on this round. So this round is that 3 days and 10. And what a high yield attempt is once you reach floor 10 and above, you get a better chance to get better gear. And how I believe that works is a floor 10 and above is the only time you can actually get legendary gear. And when you finish a round, based on how well you did, if you got an S rank, you get 3 attempts. If you get A rank, you get 2 attempts. If you get B, you get like 1 attempt. But if you still have your high yield rewards or your high yield attempts left, when you can actually use a high yield attempt, which works after floor 10, then it's going to guarantee you that legendary piece. And even if you only have 1 attempt, but after your high yield attempts are done, then you won't be able, it's not going to guarantee it. You got to get lucky on that flip. But if you don't get lucky on the flip, or if you did well, you have 3 chances. And if you still didn't hit it, you can use those extra cards to get you more flips to then guarantee that legendary piece. So save your flips for when you're actually, when it's actually possible for you to get a legendary chip, or a legendary gear piece. So then if I actually won a legendary gear piece, ideally it'd be a level 31. If I got a backpack, that'd be a bummer. But if I got like a headpiece, that'd be awesome, because that's going to increase the crit and defense, or I should say the base stats of that piece. Ideally I would get something like this, because I want a higher damage increase. I want higher crit. So then all the modifications, boosts, and enhancements I've done to that piece are going to go further beyond. The only thing that I would lose, though, potentially, is the extra stats, because the extra stats are the only thing tied to this particular piece. And the other thing that's tied to this is the base stats. So level 20 base stats of a legendary piece are going to be far worse than the base stats of a level 30 piece. So this is all needlessly complicated here in this game, but hopefully I kind of explained to you on how the gear system works, because I think the gear system and the chip system are going to be by far the most important parts in the late game once we finally get our characters up to level 80. So hopefully that explains something for you guys on how to actually improve the power of your heroes. Let me know in the comments below if there's anything else you want me to clear up. And with that, guys, I'm out. Peace.